Hey guys, how's it going? It is Kire here with another Infinite Magicraid video, and in today's video, we are going to be doing my reroll guide for Infinite Magicraid 2023 edition. This is a completely updated list to start you off with the new year here, and if you're looking to get into Infinite Magicraid, if you're looking to get a fresh start, this will be all the information you need to know on what the best heroes are for choosing to start out an account to have the best possible start in this game. Because unfortunately, there's a big difference between good legendaries and bad legendaries in this game, and if you don't get good ones, you can have a really hard time in progressing. So that's why I want to make this list. As you can see, here are the topics we're going to be discussing here. We have a can't summon category because that just makes it significantly easier to understand which ones that are just impossible to summon and why you can't summon for these guys. And then I also have a list that every account will eventually get, so you don't need to worry about re-rolling for them. Then also the legendary list, basically in order from best to worst, in my opinion, on the ones I would be most excited about versus least excited about, but still good enough to make this list. It's also a pretty short list on legendaries because the whole point of re-rolling is to get the absolute best legendaries, so it can't be that big of a list in my opinion. And then we'll talk about epics here that can best complement those legendaries. And then lastly, at the very end of the video, we're gonna have one particular epic that you should just not pick even though it is very popular. So before we get into this, based on the mechanics of re-rolling, I highly recommend using BlueStacks. It is an affiliate link. It does help me out financially. It is a program to emulate Android games. I've been using it for years. I think it's a great program for doing this because the main benefit is two things. One, you get multi-instances, so you can have multiple accounts going at the same time, and you get macros, so you'll be able to do these inputs a lot easier, so it makes re-rolling games massively faster. Then when you find the account you actually want, I highly recommend just using the actual client because there's a downloadable full desktop client for this game that is super smooth, that is way better than using BlueStacks after you finally got whatever account you're looking for if you don't want to emulate or if you don't want to automate certain tasks. So let's start off here. We have the can't summon category. This was really annoying for me to try to figure this out when I was first starting out, so I figured I would just break it all down for you guys on the characters you just cannot get early or just not at all based on summoning conditions. So we have Catherine here. This is an amazing character that everyone is going to be trying to unlock, but you have to do it through campaign or through campaign quests. So don't worry about this. This is the best character in the game, but you can't get her. You can't summon for her. You can't go for a reroll guide on her. But you can't reroll for her because she's only unlockable through those quests. Then we have Agatha here, very similar to Catherine, but way longer into the account because you have to get her through Faction Abyss, and it takes 450 stars to be able to do that. That is a very in-game thing. For example, I haven't even unlocked her yet. Most people have not unlocked her yet. Then we got holiday special characters in Nicholas. This is an incredible character here in this game, but can only have been unlocked if you were playing during Christmas, and you had to pull for him then. Same with Little Jack. Very similar thing, but for Halloween. And then we have Rune here. This is a character you can't summon for. You just get him through special events. And then last two, we have Theo here. He is someone from the Halloween events. You can't pull for him either. And then lastly, Rudolph is from the Christmas event, just like Santa. Can't pull for him either. Then we have legendaries that every account, legendary and epics that every account gets. First is going to be Space here. This is a character that you get after 7 days. There's an event, so every account gets her. She's an amazing character, really good character. Probably one you're not going to actually level first, but probably one of those top 5 characters, also an arena god. But arena is not that important early on. Then we have Margarita, amazing AoE nuker in Margarita, but she really only comes online with one Dragon Eye into her. So she's a character that's going to be on your account. Very good, but unless you invest in her or maybe pull another duplicate, probably not going to be worth actually using her for a while. Finally, we get Liz on every single account now through the hero progression system that they added into the early game. This is an amazing addition to the game in my opinion. Liz is a top 2 epic, and now every account can get her, so you don't have to worry about re-rolling for her because she's such a big deal early and even late. Like, she's just great all around, and now we can rely on every account getting her. This is going to help a ton in progression, and then we can really target in on some other epics for our reroll. Then we have Eden. This is the character you get like straight off the bat. Okay, healer, but now that we get guaranteed Liz, she's just no question, just don't even bother with her. Then Akben is a character I have as an asterisk on the edge there because it takes a ton of grinding through the version of arena where you need 3 teams. So this is something that's going to take a very long time. It's a super long grind in this game, but he is guaranteed for every account if you want to use your resources for him, which I highly recommend. It definitely save every single one of those and eventually pull for him way down the line, but that's, you're talking talking multiple months to give you an idea. And then Christine here, this is also a character like Eden you get right off the bat that is not that great, but okay, he has a shield. He's kind of counterintuitive where he shields but also does damage, so he doesn't really make much sense, but he is a guaranteed character. Now let's get into the meat of this, which is the legendaries we want to actually pull for. These are going to be the best legendaries in the game, and I believe I have them in order. This is how I would do the ordering. Maybe we can talk about, you know, between 3 through 6, maybe 3 through 9 on how we would organize those, but I think it's pretty clear, at least in the first top 3 in my opinion. So first one, absolutely without a doubt, is going to be Hazonia. This is an amazing hero, and the reason why he's so good is he's an AoE HP burner, and then when you can put your first Dragon Eye, because every account gets 1 Dragon Eye on him, this is an absolute no-brainer. It's probably the best E1 in the entire game, where he's going to do HP burn on AoE, and then it also triggers all the HP burns that he's done, so not only is he a good HP burner for bosses, for waves and stuff like that, but then he's also one of the best, if not the best nuker in the game, because when you trigger those HP burns, it hits harder than someone like a Margarita, which is her whole specialty is going to be doing AoE damage, but he's able to do it better than her and is doing percentage damage. So it just really speaks to just how good of a character Hazonia is, and I still think he's going to be the best main person to go for in the beginning of the game. A close second though, and you could argue is number 1 in my opinion, is going to be Reroll. This is an incredible character, and the reason why he got so good is because the changes to his passive to where he's basically all his moves are doing bleed damage. Crit damage doesn't matter on him, but all his damage is considered as bleed damage, so you can just build him all mastery, and then he's ignoring defense because bleed, the mechanic of bleed ignores defense. So all your moves are doing that, and he's applying bleed. It's a debuff that's not as good as HP burn, but he's doing so much damage with his just raw moves plus the bleed. Incredible character. You can't go wrong with Reroll. I think third on the list is going to be Sigmund, and you'll start to notice a theme here. All of these heroes are going to be damage dealers, but very particular types, like HP burners are going to be a big thing, but you're really going to want to have AoE HP burners. Those are going to be the bigger priority than other versions of that. And Sigmund, what makes him so good is that he has a passive that makes him take less damage. He does AoE HP burn. He has HP burn on his auto attack with the ability to counterattack off his own passive, and then doesn't stack with counterattack. So when you eventually get Catherine down the line, the best character in the game that you can't summon, he'll be able to potentially counterattack twice, which helps him apply more HP burn. But the big thing that he has going for him is a really reliable way to be able to apply AoE HP burn to everyone, which is super clutch for progressing through the story and being able to 3-star the campaign and helping with dungeons and stuff like that. So amazing character. I think he's top 3. And a close, we can argue this guy is actually top 3, is going to be Quinlan. He does something very similar to Sigmund, where he has the AoE HP burn. His passive, if he's slower than people, he's automatically putting HP burn out in an AoE pattern there. His auto attack freezes. His ultimate ends up freezing people if they already have HP burn, so he gets even better if you have other people that are applying HP burn, or if you're doing something where he's slow but you boost up his speed, so he's applying his own HP burn on the wave, and then he ends up going for the freeze afterwards. He only gets better with more Dragon Eyes on him. Incredible character. It's debatable between Sigmund and him as who the best character is out of those two. His A2 is also incredible too, because it does HP burn damage, so the damage it's doing is doing HP burn damage, which is exactly like how Reroll is. He absolutely nukes like a truck when it comes to that, so you can really one-shot a lot of waves. You can one-shot a person in PvP. Incredible character for pretty much all content, except Clan Boss, in my opinion. And then Melia, this is another HP burn character, and then when you pull her, I only can really guarantee in these scenarios E1, because every account gets 1 Dragon Eye. It's just not possible to think of them as E2 or above without, you know, some luck happening or some kind of event happening that I can't guarantee. But E1 Melia can't do her AoE HP burn, so she's a single target HP burner, does the best HP burn to a single target. She's consistently able to land 5 stacks, so that's where she shines over these other HP burners in Sigmund and Quinlan. But at E1 and E0, she can't do AoE. And that's a big deal when it comes to handling waves. What she does have going for her is she has self-sustain, and she has a built-in counterattack when she goes into Valkyrie form. So she's able to apply it to everyone, but she doesn't apply it nearly as consistently in PvE scenarios, such as Sigmund and Quinlan, stuff like that. So I think for the sake of progression, she's not as good. Eventually, like when Clan Boss becomes more important, I think she's better than both of these characters in the Clan Boss setting. Arguably better than Hazonia there as well, but it's very close, but not as good as Reroll. Reroll's going to be the king of Clan Boss when you're focusing on that. He just does, I think, the most damage in the entire game. Then we have Akben. This is another character. I think you can argue he's better than Melia for a lot of content, especially earlier. The earlier you are, because he has built-in sustain, he has the AoE burns and HP burns, so he's amazing. It's basically basically splitting hairs at this point. Me personally, I like Melia more because I like to be able to guarantee a way of being able to apply more HP burns faster to one single target, especially when you're manualing. But this is a great supplementary HP burner if you can find a way to get multiple, like let's say you have Sigmund plus him, or you have, ideally, it would be amazing, would be like Akhman plus Quinlan. So you can have Akhman go in AoE, put HP burns, and then Quinlan comes through and then freezes everyone after. I think that'd be a super sick way to be able to progress, but he is an amazing character and I'd be happy with making him my main for a starting account. And then we have Walter here. So this is going to be, if you're going to go a poison route, you really need to have Walter to make it work. Ideally, you're going to want to have Walter and Taff, but Walter's going to be the main catalyst for this account here. Also, you're going to want a specific epic that we'll talk about here in a second, but Walter does make the list if you want to make a poison team. At this point, objectively worse than going HP burn, but if you want to have fun, or if you want to try something else, it's still viable and still very good, but you really need to have Walter on here to make this work. And then Hoff here, this is probably the worst AoE HP burner out of this list, but he's very good, but you want to have him with someone. Like ideally, the perfect combination, in my opinion, just like I was saying with Akhman and Quinlan, if you go him plus another AoE HP burner, that's going to be the best combination in my opinion, because he's more supplementary. He has the AoE HP burn on his ultimate. He has an amazing auto attack where he's doing the 50% effect resist, and then he has a tenacity down and a defense down on his A2. So he's more of a support player, but he does have that AoE HP burn, which is so good that he deserves to make the list in my opinion. But it'd be more of if you're going for a really next level reroll and you want to have multiple of these characters, like let's say you get Sigmund plus him, or really, what would be really good would be like Hizonia plus Hoff, for example. That would be amazing because they're both of the Dragon Trip faction. And then lastly, going to be Alina. This is a great character for starting out, in my opinion, because she's a fantastic bleed hero, just like Nidrold, would pair well with Nidrold. She has the ability to make sure the bleeds stay on. So after 3, when the bleeds are on there, she'll keep them going. And then she has built-in effect hit that makes it easy for her to gear, and she has counter attack on her A2, so she's able to easily apply bleeds, easily be able to hit everyone, because counter attack is such a big thing early on, and she has all these ways of boosting her stats up, so you don't need to have all this crazy gear to make her viable. So these are going to be the main legendaries that I would go for here. Now let's talk about the epics that would pair well with this. First one, I think this is the best one now. It was between Liz and Wim. Now we guarantee Liz, so Wim is going to be the main target you want to go for. This is a great character, really good at shielding, has a big percentage shield, and then if you can get him E2, he can go twice, so he can shield and then put consolidation. Big thing about that is it's going to mean that it lowers the cooldown of the shield. And then he also has a passive, when you take a certain amount of damage, he'll just automatically shield for you. Having preventative damage like that out of turn is amazing. So very good there. A really good team comp early on is going to be 2 to 3 supports plus 2 to 3 damage dealers. So Wim plus Liz, I think, is the dream combination. That was the main combination I used going forward. And then next one, I think Visly is easily one of the best epics in the entire game. Borderline, in my opinion, even better than Wim. But I think Wim, especially early, for most people is going to be way better. He covers the thing that you actually care about, which is being able to shield. But I really like Visly because she's like a jack of all trades, but she does preventative damage. She has AoE attack down, and if you get enough affected, it's a guaranteed land on 40% attack down on the enemies there, which is incredible. She has speed up, she has speed down, so she covers everything. Me personally, on my main account, I use her more than Space in PvE scenarios, but in PvP, obviously Space is going to be the way to go there. You know, it's debatable on when you would want to use Space or when you'd want to use Visly, but I'm just trying to speak to just how good I think Visly is, that I'm consistently using her over Space in PvE scenarios when Space is one of the best characters in the game. So very good character in Visly that I would definitely try to roll for. Also, we have Verdo here. He has the attack up 2 on every one of his teammates, so this is going to be especially good if you have characters like Melia, Walter, Hoff, Alina, or mainly Nidrold, but all the characters that really scale off their attack there versus these other ones that are more off their HP or the enemy's HP. All the HP burners don't really care too much. Melia is kind of an exception because she has so much damage in her modifiers that she really scales well with attack as well. So that's who you're going to want to pair this with. Whereas Visly and Wim, you can pair with anyone. And then Dustin and Maya, in my opinion, are going to be like the last 2 supports to round out if you can't pull Wim. These are nice consolation prizes, in my opinion, where you have Maya is good because she does preventative of dots, which I like a lot. And then also Dustin is just a very good support for the rest of your team as well. So both of those are going to be kind of filling that slot for a Wim, in my opinion. Now we have two characters here very similar. Reeves is going to be great with a bleed team. Woosley over here is going to be good with Walter. So you have the poison detonation combination with Wusley. You also have a very good bleed character in Reeves. If you happen to like pull Alina or maybe another good bleed character and you want to have that pairing there, Reeves is a great epic to consider. And then lastly, we have a couple more. We have Hardak here, which is a great defensive sustained nuker character that he's like a carry where he can counterattack, he can't get crit if he has more defense, and he's just a good overall character that he's like the one epic that I would use as my carry, essentially. But you do need to have him exclusive 3 to really let him loose, but he's a great value pick because also down the line, you can basically just use him plus one other character and do really well in Tower of Mark, do really well mainly in Faction Abyss, because he's that kind of guy. He's kind of like a Reeves, kind of like an Alina, but since he's defensive and you can build him out with either just a ton of damage, you can build him out with maybe self-sustained with some leech or something. He's a very good character because he's already so naturally tanky based on defensive damage dealing. And then lastly is going to be Bissadin. I put him kind of as an asterisk over here because this guy's an amazing epic, but you need him exclusive 3 to make him come online. He pairs well with the AoE nuker and then gives them all these stats, and then they nuke the field. You see this guy a ton in Arena, but not necessarily a character I would reroll for. But I wanted to highlight him because he's obviously one of the most popular epics, but that's why he's one of the most popular epics, and I don't really value Arena too much when I'm thinking of the characters I want, especially early. You want to build a foundation and then just use what you got for Arena versus building an Arena team first, because you're going to struggle so hard in advancing in the game that you're not even going to be relevant in Arena anyway. So what's the point? So that is why I have him kind of as an asterisk there. But if you just have an account and then over time pull 4 of them, then absolutely build them out. But you don't need to go too crazy on building them out. What you need is you need a monster version of Margarita or another AoE nuker. That is the main list here. And then we have one final character that I don't think you should invest in. Hardak is a better version of him. Reeves is a better version of him. And the whole point of rerolling is to get the legendary that's going to be this carry. And that is Holder here. And I think there's a lot of people that were saying he's a good character. He falls off a cliff in my opinion. He's just not good enough to invest in as your main carry. It's just not a good move. If you happen to have an account that you don't want to revert and you have terrible legendaries and terrible epics and he's the one you got, sure. But I really think Reeves, I really think Hardak are going to be better choices for you to try to get a carry going that would fill his purpose, but can still be relevant down the line for you. That is why I don't think he's worth it. I've also done a video saying this guy sucks. That is going to be the list here. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Is there any other legendaries that are worth going for on this reroll list? What do you guys think? Curious down below. And with that, guys, I am out of here. Peace.